Two men on a mission down the rabbit hole of the thoughts that keep you awake at 3 a.m. Welcome to Dose of Dysfunction.
Hey everybody, welcome to another Dose of Dysfunction episode. I'm your host Casey, the self-proclaimed life coach, along with Brock, our resident redneck. Wow, you just stalled there, dead air.
No,
Spit it out, man. It's
I
like
almost
you just
sneezed.
sounded more like you took a bong rip. You're like, hold it just for one more second.
No, I almost sneezed. That was great. Hey guys. I just can't make it up. I was like, uh-oh. Tater chip. And then it backfired because I couldn't breathe.
All I was waiting for was it burns. All right. Well, on this episode, I think let's talk about guilty pleasures. Been doing a little research, Brock.
That's good.
Yeah, somebody's got to, right? There are lots of guilty pleasures out there, so I've pulled a few, and I was trying even for myself. I'm like, God, I must be like the most boring person. Like, it's like,
I don't like anything weird.
No, well, I'd like plenty of weird stuff, but I don't know what you would call as a guilty pleasure. Like, there were some in there that you.
Wasn't that something that you like? You enjoy it, but you won't let anybody know that you enjoy it?
Yeah, you don't let, one you'll find kind of themed in here a lot, and I totally get this as a parent. I think this is kind of a large majority of parents' guilty pleasure is when they sit down and watch cartoons with their kids.
Oh, fuck
and
yeah.
They're like, no. Little Amy here wants to watch whatever cartoon. You're like, yeah, no, it's cool. Like, but for me, that's not so much guilty pleasure as I'm like totally open about that. It's like, no, I like this cartoon. This is the one we're watching. You know, I'll
see. I think for you, I think it's more or less the fact that you're willing to admit that you are a child at heart and willing to watch cartoons. You want to watch cartoons. My wife and I have gone to fucking gone and actually sought out cartoon movies just for shits and giggles. When it was like, yeah, NCIS isn't working tonight, so let's try something else.
Yeah, no, I love cartoons, all of them.
Oh, yeah.
I don't mind watching kids' cartoons because there's some really smart fucking kids' cartoons and really cheeky, and you're like, man, these writers, they're brilliant.
Did you just go Australian on me right there? Really cheeky.
Yeah, probably because one of my favorites is Bluey.
Bluey? Yeah, I knew it. Bluey's a good one. Oh my god.
Yeah, but Bluey puts parents to shame.
Oh
though.
man, it makes me feel like a whore. You know what's funny is my kiddo acts this shit out. I've had to have a crazy pillow. Okay,
that's so awesome.
We have whatever that. Oh, I can't think of his name. I think it's Kevin. The hand bird.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
And they're like, we want a pet, and he's like, you already have a pet. Here's Kevin. Yeah, I've had to deal with Kevin. Kevin or Sean. Sean's his name, and he's an asshole, and he's always like, it didn't matter. You turn around, there's Sean. Fuck.
No, I'm with you. I love it. But I remember when so this is 11 years ago. My very first one would watch we had the baby channel or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It would watch some of that, but there was one on there with this bird named Larry. His vocabulary, but I also worked with a technician named Larry.
I thought it was Larry Bird.
No, I know, right? But
I'm like, wow, all right.
It was and so it had this song. But the worst part was I worked with a technician named Larry, and every time I'd walk through the shop, I'd be like, vocabulary, and
he'd be like, I'm slipping you rat poison at lunch.
What the fuck is wrong with this guy? I finally had to explain to him it's from a kid's show.
Yeah.
Or the one.
Okay, but I mean, we could sit here and talk about cartoons all day long.
Oh yeah, I love cartoons.
But guilty pleasure, like I said, I think that when I think of it, I think of that one thing you do that everybody's gonna think is weird. So you keep it to yourself and nobody knows, right? I'm not about to tell anybody what I do behind closed doors, but I think that's kind of what we're going for here, right?
Yeah, it's some things. So there's some different ones. There's some weird ones. You know, you get in some of them and they seem pretty benign, and so then you start asking yourself.
Yeah,
you're
I
like,
drink pickle juice.
yeah,
okay,
that's
no big deal. Like
like,
whatever. I eat sardines.
Man, I had to dole out 3 glasses of pickle juice to my kids yesterday. They walk up, can I have pickle juice? It's like, and I'm the one going, God, that's nasty, but here you go. Like,
you know? But I think that's nice about kids, though, is that there's no such thing as a guilty pleasure because it is what it is. They want what they want. They're not afraid to tell you that. You know, so it's like, cool. You're going to be a psychopath later, but here you go. There's your
and if you don't shame them at the time they ask for it, if you're just like, yeah, okay, whatever, they're just like, oh, sweet. You know,
yeah.
This
Can I get pickle juice? No, we're at McDonald's. They don't serve that.
As the guy behind the counter's like,
what?
I guess I could strain some out of the little bucket.
Dude, have you seen the pickle bucket at McDonald's?
Dude, I worked at a Burger King. Ours had the, glass, or not glass. It was in a plastic bucket, but it had, a metal tray underneath.
Yeah, grab it, pick it up.
Yeah, you grab it. So, there's nothing worse than that.
You're like, fuck you. I'm like, I want one of them.
Dude, working in that made it so I don't really care for pickles. I can eat them now, but no, because there's no more permeating smell than pickle juice on your hands from making burgers all day, reaching in there, because I was still work there back before the whole everybody's got to wear gloves, you know. Yeah. So you would work, and so you would grab pickles and onions and tomatoes, right? Because you're just going as fast as you can, and you'd go. But whether you went to the bathroom, went and got something, you washed your hands a lot. But pickle juice permeates. Like you'd wake up the next morning and wipe your nose or something like it, you'd be like, oh, what the fuck is on my hands? You're walking. No, it's nasty. It's amazing. I fucking
love pickles.
Oh, well, it ruined it. It was no, man, smelling like pickle juice is just nasty.
I don't know. I've smelled like cow shit for a long time because of the farm, so... I mean, to be honest with you, I think I would rather smell like pickle juice than smell like fucking cow shit.
No, you wouldn't, because then you're going to have some guy about your size walk up and go, man, I love pickles.
I got a dilly for you.
And you're going,
you want to zest this up, buddy?
Oh, shit, man. Today's the day. I don't make it out of the restaurant.
You're cornered in the bathroom. Oh, shit. He likes pickles.
Yeah. No, that shit's nasty. Anyway, had I would have known that at the time, I would have been more than happy. I didn't have an aversion to wearing gloves. I just had. I would have sought them out so my shit didn't smell like pickles all the time.
Use a spoon or something. Jesus.
No, okay. You do it you have to reach in there and grab them because you have to grab a certain amount. You know how long it'd take to take a spoon no, it's grab and go. You know,
take a spatula and flip them all out on the thing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Count them out with the spatula.
No, there's levels to all of that where you had to have X amount of pickles, X amount of onions, a certain way you do.
I know,
the ketchup.
2 of them. Sliced as thin as possible, stacked right on top of each other, and on the side of the fucking burger. I know. You take one bite, you get 2 pieces of pickle.
Yeah, well.
Take the next bite, nothing. Fuck. They ain't paying them motherfuckers $15 an hour now.
Oh, maybe they'll get it right this time.
Yeah, right. There's a $15 an hour fuck up. What that is.
That's awesome.
Fucking jack my price up on my burger and my fries. Never get my fries warm. Fucking burger's got all the shit on one side and a burger on the other.
The day we live in.
We're lucky they make it in the fucking bag. I mean, ultimately, come on, Casey. You work there, you know this.
We did an okay job. I can tell you.
I'm going to try to sack as much fries as I can here.
No, everybody should be forced to work a fast food job.
Oh, God, that would suck.
Yeah, not trying to take this away from guilty pleasures, but you want a little bit of a tangent. No, all you motherfuckers who have never worked fast food, you can fuck off. Right now.
Yeah, but you were also a delivery boy for Pizza Hut, right?
Fuck, dude, that's an awesome job. I'd do that job again in a heartbeat. Like, if I could pay my bills with that job, sign me up.
That easy, huh? That nice? I can only imagine because every time somebody's at my house dropping off a pizza, I'm like, yeah, thanks, all right, great. Here's your tip, blah blah blah. I'm a tip guy. My wife apparently didn't know these people existed, but I'm a tip guy. I throw money at people, and my wife's like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
So you're a house that'd be like, when that one pops up, you're like, "Oh, I'm going there," right? Look, well, you play the game because there's the delivery thing, and you can see. And
it's like a board.
Yeah, if you've done it long enough, well, and not only that, normally at least where we were, and I don't know how, other places may operate. They all have their version, and I especially don't know now that you were tracked, right? Because we were in the time of not tracked. Because trust me, we had plenty of delivery drivers. You'd had a clock next to the order, and you'd be like, dude, that motherfucker's been gone for an hour. Where is he at? Oh yeah, I stopped and got high with my buddy. Trust me, I've heard it all.
Right?
Oh shit, Joey lives around here. Hold on. I mean, yeah, and there are times you get stuck at houses. It happens. But if you're going with it's a super fun job. But yeah, if they tip. And the way it worked with us is like they'd stack them in areas, right? Because you don't ever leave most of the time with one if it's busy. Right. So that's the game you played. You'd look, you could see where the delivery addresses were. And so you could be like, oh shit, that's like a 4-house run up this street that'll take me like
no time at all.
You had the guys who just cruise around, could give two shits. You had the guys like me and another guy, we were competitive, right? Like, I would beat him in deliveries all the time. This was an older guy, too. He would eventually get so pissed off he'd quit driving and go help inside. That's how pissed off. Had him do it to me one night because I was just smoking him in deliveries. We were fucking busy, and the dude decided he wasn't going to drive anymore, that he'd help box, which only made me fucking busier.
Right.
But at the end of the night, I made all the tips. I was like, yeah, fuck you, pal. It was... I didn't care. But I was more about, let's go fast, let's do this. But it was just fun. You go up. You get all sorts of weird shit. I mean, dude, customers are so predictable. We would have every Sunday, this family would come in, right? And this was like a delivery carryout store. They would, on their way home from church, mind you, they stopped and ordered their pizza for delivery. So they could go home and, it would get delivered to them.
Get all their church.
Yeah, they could be.
When the pizza showed up,
They lived 15 minutes from the fucking place.
So they got home about the time you were boxing the pizza.
Yeah. And you drove all the way out there. They wouldn't tip you.
Oh, that would suck.
And it was like dead on every Sunday. Because I was always like the opening driver on Sundays. So, every fucking Sunday, that was like the first delivery you wound up taking.
I just have fucking things ready.
Well...
I'd be like, nope, seen you coming. I'd drop the fucking pizzas on the thing and be like, here you go.
Yeah, it was all they'd use their coupon and shit like that, and you were just like... So yeah, you'd see you just learned addresses. You'd be like, oh, I'm not making any money on this one. Oh, I'm not, Shit, here's this one. There was one house that... They tipped with Jehovah's Witness pamphlets. Like, I'll tell you...
Are you shitting me?
No, it's super, super common. It is not uncommon to get religious pamphlets. Like, houses that you deliver to that are highly religious, you get, like... They'll give you pamphlets a lot of times. It's so...
Those people should be smited.
Yeah, it is so frustrating. I mean,
you.
Okay, don't tip me. Fine, whatever. You're an asshole.
Or don't give me fucking religious paperwork.
Really? Now you're just giving me shit I gotta throw away. Like...
you just look at him and go, dude, put this in your own trash can. I'm gonna throw this away for you.
I had shit like one dude opened the door and literally caught his Dalmatian as it was lunging for me by the collar. Like, You know, I hear the dog barking.
I can see that one though. Like,
yeah,
that's
and it didn't bother me. It was a little like, whoa, shit! I just about got my face eaten off by this dog. But
just about died.
You know, I'm an animal person, so it doesn't.
I've heard about these things.
It doesn't really bother me. You know, you go to the door and you're like, oh, dog's barking. This will be fun. I mean, I do it now. When I order,
when you come into my house, you're like, oh fuck.
Oh, yours are just big and try to topple you. Mine won't shut up. So,
yours are like crazy loud.
So when I order delivery, I love the tracker.
I feel like one of your guilty pleasures would be noise canceling headphones.
They are.
So you can tune out the dogs, and then and somebody like walks in, you're like, oh fuck, hey,
yeah, no, totally. But I go out on the driveway. I meet the drivers outside every time. I love the watching just so I can be out there and time it out just so they don't have.
Oh yeah. And I mean, you've seen it tonight. That one of ours, he's so fucking big. He manhandle you through the fucking doorway.
Well, right.
And I mean, delivery guys don't have a fucking chance because they're holding food.
Yeah, it's over.
Oh fuck.
So that was the only thing that used to irritate me with people was that it's like, dude, you know you have this, you know what your animals are like. Come the fuck outside, you know, or stop. But oh no. But at the same time, we actually had one where my poor mom, we had a dog for a while. Well, she was uber protective. Like, she didn't like delivery drivers. Oh, and in one of our old places, like, when we came home from the hospital...
I mean, to be fair, I know an ex-delivery driver. You're kind of sketchy.
Fair enough.
You're a little shady, man.
Well, so when we brought our second kid home from the hospital, right? You know, it's always a deal. Mom's asleep. You're like, fuck, I'm hungry. You order pizza, right? Nobody's doing shit. You just order the pizza. Well, I go out there and we always they'd bark, but they'd come outside with you. Normally you try to keep them inside. Well, she beat me outside. Fucking bites this dude. Like,
oh shit.
She's a little ankle biter. He kicks her off. You know, he's okay with it. I'm mortified, but he doesn't, you know, I'm like, oh, fuck. Well, so my parents watched our kids once at our newer house, right? And they knew the dogs were like that. Well, my mom let the delivery driver in.
Oh, fuck.
And she bit the delivery driver. Well, this girl wasn't the same and reported it. So we had to go through all just stupid stuff about having the dog checked and this and that. And and those are the only two people she ever bit. But it was like you're on my turf, I'm protecting my family. And like,
is that the one that tried to bite through my pant leg?
No, this one's dead, but that's one of the children of that one. And he is taking on mom's traits.
Oh, that's right. The big old one, yeah. Tried to fucking bite through tried to bite my knee. I'm like, you dumbass. Your fucking mouth is not big enough for that. What are you doing?
Yeah, they're...
I play with big dog, man. Quit fucking around.
Yeah, they think they're way bigger.
You look like a jizz stain on the carpet compared to the fuckers I have to deal with.
And the funny thing about that one, if you get him outside on a leash and there's other dogs, he's a bitch. He's behind your legs. He won't cross the street. He's like, he wants no... Yeah, he has no interest in that.
Mine has no fucks to give. Run out in the middle of the fucking busiest goddamn road. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Chasing him down. And he's out there. Look at this one. It's blue.
No, this one I took for a walk one time. We got, I don't know, probably half a mile away from the house. He freaked out. I had to pack him home. He just I was like,
I'm not packing any of mine home.
No,
fuck that.
No. Fuck Cannon would pack you home.
Oh, God. I could ride him like a fucking horse.
Right. So... Back to deliveries, though. Yeah, I've delivered pizza. I've delivered Chinese food. Dude, I'll tell you what. You want tips? Chinese food's the way to go. People tip for that shit. The pizza driver, they don't give you shit. Like, you have some people...
I never understood that.
Pizza, like... And now this is... To date me.
Oh, now you're getting racist, aren't you, Casey? You racist motherfucker.
No, with, like, standard with, like...
You're getting foodist.
I am foodist. Standard with, like, pizza delivery drivers, like, $2 was the standard, and I still think it kind of carries today. But at the time, we got, like, we got a little bit for... Ours wasn't mileage, it was by the delivery. We got like 25 cents a delivery was our gas money since it was our only car.
Oh,
I'm sure it's all factored different now. And then you got your tips. But at that time, dude, gas was 99 cents a gallon. So, you know, you do 10 deliveries, you probably didn't drive nearly those many miles as your gas money was gonna pay for. So, that kind wasn't bad, but $2 was normal. That's what you'd consider average. So you kind of factored that when you broke it down at the end of the day, if you averaged out at $2, it was an average night, right?
Yeah.
$2 for delivery. $1 was your cheap fuckers that still wanted to act like they tip. It's like, it's like when you leave a waitress a penny, it's almost more insulting. It's like,
fuck.
Yeah. Well, that's the, when it comes.
That's just rude.
Yeah, but that's the point of it. That should tell you as a server or service person, either your customers were A, total assholes, or B, you did a shit job.
Mm-hmm.
Not to the point, because when you don't tip, that's either you're just that, I don't believe in it, or you have something, or you just don't tip, or you're merely that big of an asshole. But when you tip shitty, that's the... Yeah, I would normally tip, but you suck, so like the penny, that's the insult. That's the like, no, your service was only worth a penny, and that tells you, well, fuck, if I wouldn't have pissed these people off, I would have actually got a tip.
Yeah. I've seen that, like, of one of our friends, buddies or something. I've heard this from a few people, but he sit down, and depending on the restaurant is about what he'll use for bills. So if he's going to McDonald's or whatever, some place where you're just expecting to get your food and that's it, he'll just tip whatever, like at the, like obviously you're not going to tip at McDonald's, but you know what I mean? Like he'll, like one of those lower restaurants, it's kind of fast food-ish kind of restaurant, right? Or delivery guy for pizza. He'd tip whatever, just your couple bucks, $3, whatever, right? But if he goes to a nice restaurant and he's being waited on, he'll judge the restaurant by how classy it is, right? So, like, if he was going to go to one of them big, fancy, fucking Chandler steakhouses, right? He would set, like, $500, like $5 $100 bills on the table. As you fuck up, they will come off of the table. What you're left with at the end of the night is what you get for your tip. Because he's grading your service. I feel like that's kind of degrading.
That's totally degrading, putting it out there. So it goes back to a get what you give. The way I approach servers and stuff like that, like I try to be the good customer. I get it. It's hard like that. So I really only expect minimal service, and I'll give you a decent tip.
Yeah.
But it's more I kind of prod you along, and I'm being nice to you. So my thought is look, I'm being nice to you. I'm being understanding, all of those things. And a lot of times it'll get you way better service. Well, the reward for that is not only have I been a good customer, you've been a good server, right? I'm going to give you a good tip. And that brings where when they remember you then, and when you walk in, they're like, they were cool. We're taking care of them. And it's not that it's not about getting free shit or stuff like that. It's just when people walk around and go, man, they're shitty. This is shitty. Everywhere they go is shitty. It goes back to, no, man, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Like,
the saying I believe is, when everybody you meet in a day is an asshole, who's really the asshole?
Right. Yeah, I've seen it with customers. If you've been fired from, every place you've ever been, it's not the places anymore. You better look in the mirror. It's you.
Yeah.
You're the problem, not everywhere you're going. It's
right.
Like, I think the one I use is, if everywhere you go gives you shitty service, you might want to stop to think that you're a shitty customer.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But that goes back with tipping. You get some people, like, there's the fair thing, right? So, and it goes with drivers too.
Yeah.
Well, they're like, it goes back to what you made the comment about talking about minimum wage burgers or that. Now they get $15 and they can't fucking get it right.
Fuck!
But that goes back to, you have a large amount of people who won't tip because they're like, no, you need to be paid fair, competitive wages. You shouldn't be relying on my...
Right.
That should be factored in.
We shouldn't get into this because I'm very aggressive about this situation.
I'm sure you are.
He's currently causing me some problems and pissing me off. But, because I mean, and I'm only going to say this and we got to move on. But if you're going to raise minimum wage, you need to raise everyone else's the same amount. because you just sucked all the value out of the people who have been earning that to get to where minimum wage now is. You've sucked all the value out of those people and they're worthless. So if you want to literally make everybody that you have employed by you, and I hope certain people listen to this, if you want to make them feel like shit, raise your minimum wage and everybody who makes less than that up to it, but don't raise your tried and true guys and gals, and see what kind of fucking mutiny you get. Because this is fucking ridiculous. I don't believe that anybody should make less than 15. But, or whatever they're wanting to move. Okay, that's great. But at the same point in time, I don't think you should suck the value out of the guys who have been there for years and have earned that number. You shouldn't suck the value out of them. And for what I have to say about that, I'll give you a job. Just let me know. I got positions. Let me know.
So,
fuck.
Well, but that goes back to most people's justification is if you paid these people reasonable, then you make, because in a lot of Europe there is no tipping. Like, it's frowned, like, you're not supposed to tip.
Oh, in Europe?
Yeah, there's a lot of places in Europe.
Dude, I barely leave Idaho. I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying that you don't tip, and you'll actually, in tipping, it would be insulting, right? The idea is they pay their people, you're paid to do a service. Right. It's no different than, why do I have to, if you were hired to make coffee at Starbucks, and I'll use these because this is a perfect example, and it's
they're
spread. Well, Starbucks stuff. You go to a coffee shop, they got the tip jar out, right? Well, I can make the argument is you work at a coffee shop. Your job is to make me coffee.
Why should I have to tip you to do your job?
Right. Why do I need to tip you to do your job? Well, when you take that to the restaurant industry, because that's where it's filtered off of, and servers and stuff like that, it's the same way that people would tell you forever with delivery drivers. It's like, no, you're paid to deliver me pizza. You're like, yeah, I'm doing you a service and they give me 25 cents a delivery and pay me $6 an hour. This was at the time when, it was like, could I make $15 an hour? Yeah, it's very dependent on that guy or gal at the door saying, sweet, I got it prompt, I got it fast, my food's hot. Hey, you did a good job. You came to the door professional, you offered me, whatever their standards of grading are. Well, the argument is why are we paying to employ? You own a restaurant, right? Why are we as customers outside paying your employees?
Right.
Because at the same time, here's what you go. A good server typically makes good money because they get better tips. Now, this is a testament to customers and that your customers and people value people more than businesses do, because people who've worked in those industries and know jobs depend on that. When you get really good service, it doesn't matter where you come from, what job you currently hold or that. When you go out to these places, you get really good service. You respect that. So you give a really good tip no matter what. Right. Like, we're no different. We have our favorite restaurant that we've gone to for 20 plus years. We probably go at least once a month, if not more, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not an expensive restaurant. I mean, we can all sit down. I mean, we can go to this restaurant, all have more food than we ever wanted. And that being me and my wife, my 2 kids, and my parents, and still walk out with a bill that's $100.
Well, it ain't McDonald's.
No, but that's what I'm saying. You go there and it's not crazy, it's not outrageous, but I'll tip $30 on that. And most people be like, well, it's like $10, right? Or maybe, well, that's $15. No, to me, like, if you got good service, or part of going there, though, I don't want to say we're family, but when we walk in, they know who we are because we've gone there forever. We've had, baby showers there. Most of the important...
Oh, my God.
No, I'm dead serious, though. Most of the important, like, family meal things, right?
Shit.
It happens there, but it's no different, though. It's so much a part of what we do that, like, when my parents come visit us, it's like a requisite. If I say to my mom, hey, where do you want to go eat? That's where we go, right?
Right.
You leave it open, but at some portion in that trip, one of the meals is going to be there. That's just how it is, but we always tip really good. And you do. When you walk in, they treat you excellent. They treat you like I hate saying a member of the family, but they treat you good. It's like good friends. You walk in and that's how it is. So that's why I go back to, if you're a good customer in that, they remember that. You'll get great service every time. The argument to that is, we'll pay your people right, and they'll provide great service, which will bring more customers in.
Right.
And it's no different than me giving them that good tip is saying, I'm willing to pay more if this is how my experience is every time. Well, as a business owner, the translation of that, or the idea, regardless of what you believe, is, hey, it's fine if you raise your prices on food and everything else, if you can hold your staff and your level and everything to this quality of service. I don't care if I go pay...
Fucking quality control.
Right. I'm fine paying
more. Put the
more.
fucking pickles where they need to fucking go.
But that goes back to management. Like,
fuck management. You know, I'm telling you right now, if you put 2 pickles on a fucking burger on the opposite side of the fucking bun as you put all the fucking lettuce, I swear to God, oh my God, I have been ready to get you. This fires me up. These little motherfuckers, okay? My boss tells me all the time, what the hell I gotta give you a bonus for? I pay you to do a job. Yeah,
right,
you're
but
right.
that goes back
let me dig the hole.
That goes back to management, though. But when the guy managing him, now before people were getting the money, when the guy manages him and says, hey, you have to do a better job. But if that dude's making $7 whatever an hour, and the other guy's making $8.50, and he's his boss, so he's really only making about 75 cents more, he doesn't give any more of a shit than that guy. He's like, fucking get it out of here. Your meals sucked. Look at where you picked to eat. Are you surprised? Right? You know,
I think my favorite one is and I don't like chicken at all, but my wife loves chicken and all that. They go to Chick-fil-A, right?
We don't eat there.
What? No, I'll eat whatever the wife brings home, mainly because I don't have to cook it. Whatever. We got to take the bun off and rearrange some shit, but whatever. Like, I didn't have to deal with it. It's fine. Don't care. But if you get just a plain ass like chicken sandwich, that's what you get. You get fucking chicken breast on 2 buns with 2 pickles, and they're normally stacked. Kind of like right
because it's a similar line. Let's go as fast as you
want.
Boom,
bang, 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 bang. Right.
Fast food isn't about quality; it's about speed.
Right. I mean, and I get that.
And that goes back to you get what you pay for, right? That's how they keep meals cheap, and because they got cheap labor and everything like that. But here goes
not anymore.
Well, but here's going to go back to what you're saying. Okay, so now they pay the dude $15 an hour to cook the food, right? What do you think they pay the manager? He's still making $15 an hour, or maybe 16, because, like you said, it's not.
You just sucked all the fucking value out of it.
Yes, you
just made your managers worthless. So if you're listening, fuck you.
But that's part of the degree in what you do. So should that manager, if you paid him right, then he'd be like, no, you're getting paid good. Our prices have had to go up because of that, right? So now our quality has to match our prices and what we're doing. So then as the management, you have to come in there and say, no, you're held to a higher standard.
Yeah.
Right?
Put fucking pickles where they need to be. Quit stacking them on top of each other, you fuck.
But we're in the day and age of, so what would that translate to was the big idea of let's do surveys and everything else. You get your stars and your ratings of that. Right. Well, the first problem is most people who are upset actually don't complain.
No, they fucking review your ass on Google.
No, that's... see, the problem with that is, though your 1 stars and stuff like that, those people who want to go after you, they go hardcore after you. Most of the time, they're unreasonable. You don't get... Like, the guy who got 2-star service, was like, well, yeah, I mean, it's McDonald's, but... Fuck, they could have at least separated the pickles. I mean...
They could have put the right amount of fucking burgers on the bun.
Right. I mean, I'm not expecting the dude to do rocket science, but I would at least like it to come out in one piece.
Yeah, I don't need half the burger. When I open the box, half of it's on one side and half's on the other.
Right.
Fucking McDonald's. I opened a Big Mac box one day and it was like, well... There's 2 Macs in this box. Like, what in the fuck is going on here?
But that absolutely goes back into how it's run in the expectation. But the argument could be, now you're going to have the argument from the business side of, well, okay, yeah, I raised their wage. Now I raise the management's wage. Now I got to raise the price of the food, right? And, well, I'm still going to hold my margin. Mm-hmm. So now I've raised what I expect to. Now we got massive inflation, and it really doesn't matter because now $15 an hour is worthless. So because everything else is appreciated at the same level as the pay, right? It's inflated as the same. So now it's, well, I needed $15 an hour so I could afford the $1,000 a month rent places that everywhere is, and now which we've got a housing shortage, depending where you're at. Now everything's $1,600 a month, so $15 an hour really doesn't mean shit because I can't afford that much on $15 an hour.
No,
it's the vicious cycle that has to be stopped at a much higher point. I mean that's the problem, is they leverage against it. But to go back to the restaurant argument, is the big argument in not tipping is, and this is part of, it's been adopted, like I said, in Europe, is in most places you don't tip. The reason being is the employees were all hired to do a job with an expectation and are paid to do that sort of thing. So
you're actually almost insulting the business or the manager staff and the owners and stuff.
You're to a degree, even though we don't view it this way, you're insulting the employee. That the only way you can possibly show up and do a good job is if I tip you, right? You're not.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that has been lost on the fact that if I was to tip you, it's because I respected the fact that you did a great job.
Yeah, but you also know that I'm not getting paid shit. So there's the guilt factor that comes into tipping. If you've been in it and you know they're not paid shit, or you're one of those people who respect hard work or whatever, and know they're not paid shit, because as you'll look...
See, that's where I feel like tipping has gone awry. In that, like, I know you don't make shit, and so I know you live off of what I tip you. That's bullshit. If you do a shitty job, I'm sorry, I'm not tipping you. If you show up an hour after I ordered my fucking pizza and it's cold, and you're hiring a kite and tripped over shit coming up to the... and you fucking knocked on the door like you were a fucking cop, and all this shit... Or you, like, lightly knocked because you didn't want me to answer the door, so you could be like, yeah, you didn't answer the door, Okay, yeah, I'm not tipping you. And more than likely, the only thing I'm tipping is you off my fucking porch. Like, that's, I'm not about that. So if you show up and you do a good job and shit's, you get there and the pizza's still hot and you were super professional and great, and all right, here's your tip. And you walk up and, hey, man, here's your pizza, and you drop the fucking thing, I'm gonna be like, yeah, get off my fucking porch before I fucking shoot you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, fuck that. I feel like it shouldn't matter what you get paid. It should only matter based on how professional and, and that respectful and all that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, that's what tipping should be based off. Yeah. But again, people see it as a control thing. Again, though, just like everything, if somebody else takes it and they go, now the coffee guys don't make shit and they think they need to be served. Well, I tip, whatever. But at the same time, there's part of me that's like, no, man, dude, Dutch Brothers has 8 billion of these things. Just fucking pay your guys. You're making a mint, right? Why do I need to tip your guys for coffee when I came to a coffee stand? I would be more likely to be like if I went to a deli and was like, oh man, I'd really like a cup of coffee. And they're like, well,
fuck, we're going to brew one.
Yeah, it's like, we don't serve coffee, but we do happen to have a coffee maker in the back. I can brew you one.
Then it's going to take me a second, but I'll get you hooked up.
But I'm tipping you for that because it's like, shit, they're doing something out of the realm of what the job describes to take care of me as a customer. It's like, well, shit, that's worth a tip, right? But service industries in general, the whole idea of tipping and stuff is that's part of the mentality in the business here is you're expected to tip. At the same time, now you've been taught to, as a consumer, to treat that tip as like hostage. It's a control thing. You ain't gonna make shit if you don't wait. Now you have your reasonable people. You have your I would call them over tippers and guilt people who are trying to make up for everybody else in that. And I fall into that category. Like, I'm the one that I always tip really good most places, even if the service is like average. I'm like, I remember being there. It's like, well, I can see, you start gauging people and you're like, that's a person that's had a shit fucking day. I'll throw them an extra couple bucks.
Yeah.
Did it bleed over to me? Maybe. But hopefully in my interaction with them, maybe they're a little less shitty to the rest of the world. So, and maybe getting a good tip may be like, oh shit, just think if I actually had a little enthusiasm today, what this would do for me. But, tipping stuff.
You're sentimental, aren't you, Casey?
I'm
about your harsh life adjustments to delivering pizzas.
It's not just delivering pizzas. That's why I say.
I still want to see you deliver Chinese food.
Oh, Chinese food was fucking awesome.
6 foot tall, 6'2" fucking white man shows up. I mean, you were white. Shows up with fucking pork fried rice and fucking sweet sour chicken.
Here was the craziest thing I thought about delivering Chinese food. So the company I delivered Chinese food for, they had their own cars.
Oh, yeah.
So we were driving their cars. So it was like, well, shit, I don't even have to put miles on my own damn car. This is awesome, right? We're cruising around in their cars.
Was this a quick walk?
This was quick walk.
Yeah!
And this was back in the day before you had all the online stuff. They were one of the few people that we
probably
had
delivered to us.
Probably. They had the handheld. We could run the credit cards right there at the door.
Yeah.
We had the handheld.
Did.
Yeah,
and it print out a fucking mile long receipt.
It had. This was
had all the coupons and shit on the back of the receipt. Way before the fucking big box stores did it.
Right. We had those scan deals and you could do that. But what was craziest about it, that's what blew me away, was driving my own car to deliver pizzas. People were shitty about tipping sometimes. Some good, some bad. Chinese food, everybody tips for the most part. And they tip good. You show up there and you're normally not taking a whole bunch of deliveries. It's more one here, and a lot of times it's more food and stuff. But man, you get up there, and
Chinese buffets are way better than fucking ordering 6 items off the fucking menu.
Right. So you come packing all that stuff, but yeah, it was not uncommon to get $6-7 a house. So you took half the deliveries and made just every bit the money or more than you would delivering pizzas, and your customers were different because when you're delivering pizzas. Coupon day and when the
coupon day.
And again, I'm going back in the day. It's not quite the same because you have all the online. I'm sure today is different.
I'm pizza delivery man. You
dude,
you better have your fucking coupons.
Right, I remember having to come to the door because you had to part of cashiering it at the end and sending. You had to turn in the coupons. If you got to the door and they didn't have the coupon, it was a fucking issue. It was you're
a fucking issue, motherfucker.
You're looking at the receipt.
Better have your goddamn coupons.
Yeah, you'd have to make a phone call. Luckily we were actually in the day and age of cell phones, so just not going too far. But you'd end up having to call back to the store and try to get a hold of one of the managers and be like, "What do I do? They don't have their coupon."
Yeah,
just crap like that. It was ridiculous.
Okay, so in all of this, what was your worst, what was the interaction that has stuck with you today? Was it a good one, a bad one, a kind of oddball one? What was the one that sticks out in your mind?
I have a handful. Everybody has a handful. My one that sticks out in my mind the most is actually not one. It was while at work. It was delivering pizzas, but it wasn't actually at the house I delivered to. So I delivered to this house, and I'm coming off of this house, and next thing I know, there's 4 or 5 kids, teenage kids, kind of there, kind of pulled up. And you get a little sketched when, you start seeing that as a delivery driver. You're like, fuck, man, I got $20 on me. I really don't want to go through this shit.
About to get jumped by a bunch of teenagers.
It's so they can go pay Cousin Billy to go buy him beer. You know, it's like, this is going to suck. Well, the guy stops me and he's like, hey, can I ask a favor of you? And I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting. I was like, yeah, man, what's up? He's like, so will you call my girlfriend's parents? And his girlfriend was there, and there was another girl. Will you call this other girl's parents and pretend to be my girlfriend's parents? And say she's sleeping over.
Oh, fuck.
And I'm like, okay, I'm 18, 19 years old. You know, I'm like, yeah, fuck it, man. If you're going to pay me, whatever. I don't care. Everybody, I get back and they're like,
how much this going to cost you, son?
Yeah, I was like, all right, yeah, no big deal, right? You know? Look, I may be a big dude, but I know I have a high-pitched voice. Like, I know I don't... The voice doesn't necessarily match the size, right? I don't have the big, booming baritone. Well, imagine that at 18. Yeah, it was like... me calling anybody, I would have sounded like the kid calling, not the adult, right? And so, I'm like, I get on the phone with this lady, you know, I'm going through it, and she's like, wow, you sound so young. And I played it off great, though. I was like, oh, yeah, I get that all the time, you know, but that's so sweet of you, you know.
Gray hair doesn't match your voice, trust me.
Right. So, I totally,
Is fairly safe to say, at this point, we haven't done shit for guilty pleasures, and this is all about fast food.
It's okay. Reminiscing about the good old days. It just saves the topic for the other day. But so, yeah, I called that one in, and what made it stick was it's not a normal request, right? You know, I never got the weird, like, I didn't get the, you know, naked lady. I never ran into that. I mean, I got some other weird ones. You know, I went to a house one night. It was like last delivery of the night, and a dude comes to the door, and he's like, he answers the door, and he sees it's a young boy, right? And you know, you can always kind of see back in their houses, and I see he's got obviously a couple chicks came home from the bar with this guy. He's like, hold on, you know, and then he sends them up to the door, and you know, they're like, what kind of pizza you got there? Does it come with tube steak? And you're like, it's like, and this is a time where it's like, I'm 18 years old, and these are two drunk barflies that are like twice my age or more, and I'm just like, yeah, dude, not with the 10-foot fucking pole. Can you please just pay the bill, get an tip, and let me go? You know, I'm not interested in this. You know, I delivered to parties. Parties were always kind of hit or miss, kind of interesting. Probably the next one that really sticks in my mind is I went to a party. I go there, and these people have their regular door, which was open, and then they have a glass door, right? And this girl says, oh my God, I've never been so happy to see somebody, and reaches for the handle, misses the handle, and face plants the door. I mean, it was fucking hilarious. You know, you'd get tips sometimes. You'd hit some of those parties, and those guys would tip you like in beer or something. They'd be like, here, man, take some beers. You'd have people like that.
See, that would be the tips I'd be looking for right there.
You'd have those.
I'd take a cooler and the hot bag up to the door. Here's your pizza, fill my cooler.
Yeah, but then you'd run into the ones where they'd be the pranks. So you'd be chasing houses or knock on doors,
Jack
and it
me
wasn't
off.
there. Well, not that though. You'd go to places, lights would be out. Sometimes you'd fuck up as a driver and address wrong, like because they'd be in weird spot where addresses were. You know, I knocked on a few doors, and what surprised me more were people like answered. And I'm thinking, no, I'm ignoring that shit. Pizza driver, go away, right? You know, and they're like answering the door half naked, like, what the fuck are you knocking on my door for? And it's like, what the fuck are you doing answering the door, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Put the fucking clothes on first.
You know, I think my wife, when she delivered for a while, back early on, she delivered to one where she could see through the window. The people didn't gauge how much time it'd take for the delivery, so they were getting it on when she hit the doorbell, you know? Like, so,
I've never delivered pizzas or Chinese food or anything, right? Like, I've never done any of that. The one thing that I've delivered was hay. I've only got one incident that was like, what in the fuck is going on? And I delivered the hay, and I hear a gunshot go off, and I'm like, what in the fuck? And this dude is running down the driveway with his pants in his hand, and he's got a flannel shirt half on, hauling ass down this driveway. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then this other guy, the guy who I knew, we were selling hay to, steps through the door and fires his 12 gauge down the fucking driveway at this guy. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like hiding in the truck, like, fucking don't shoot me, you know, like, because he's running down the driveway kind of towards me, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Hits the road, jumps into his pickup, fucking, you know, Dukes of Hazzard that shit out of there. And I'm like, am I going to get paid? Like, oh, shit. And I had to walk down the driveway, and I'm like, half thinking to myself, do I just call my uncle and be like, hey, so you're going to have to come collect payment from this guy. I'm not, you know. And, yeah, he had a smoking hot wife and everything else. So, apparently, she had a smoking hot boyfriend, too. And I was like, oh, my God.
Oh, see, one of those. That would be pretty good. That would definitely be
No,
really
it's pretty sketch. I'm walking up the driveway going, I think his shirt was the same color as mine. The only difference is I have my pants on.
Yeah, no doubt. That's how that works sometimes. Now, there's definitely some interesting ones out there. No, it's definitely pretty crazy what you'll see. And the other one, going back to the one, so I call in, get these kids, right? They get to go have their thing. I see them later at the gas station. You know, I'm filling up in that, and they roll in there. Well, the funny part, the next part of it to me that was funny, I don't know why this sticks out, because this wasn't all that crazy. About a week later, I delivered to another house in, you know, because you have an area, right? Delivered to another house in that same neighborhood. You know, you don't think twice about it. Well, I go to the door, and the lady comes to the door. She's paying for the pizza. Well, I see, like, on the stairs, this teenager comes kind of down the stairs, and I can kind of see him, and it was the friend that I'd called her parents. So the lady I was talking to at the door was the same lady that I had on the phone.
That's funny.
Yeah, and this girl behind her, hi, you know, smiling, waving like
shit, and then doing the like cutting her throat thing, like, don't fucking give us away.
She wasn't doing that, but that's what I'm thinking. Is like, don't fucking wave at me. Like,
yeah, what are you doing, stupid?
Like, no, you know, I'm literally face to face with the person. I'm like, well, if that's not karma, you know, maybe just like, and it never came of anything, but it was just one of those moments where it just sticks out in my mind. I mean, some of the other moments, one of probably the weirdest one, and I'm not trying to be religious on this, but there was in this neighborhood, maybe she still does it, but she would, I don't know if big house, I don't know if they do it at the house or whatever, but she'd order a bunch of pizzas, and it'd be for the Mormon missionaries. Whenever maybe they were doing a conference, I don't know.
Right.
Whatever. So you'd have to deliver up like 10 pizzas. 10, 12 pizzas. It wasn't little. And most of the time, there'd be a couple, you know, you'd hit the door, and there'd be a couple missionary guys there to, you know, she'd have them grab them. And
right.
take them in and stuff like
whatever.
that. No big deal. Well, one of the times, though, I've got all these pizzas, right? And she's like, oh, yeah, just come on in, bring it in. Dude, that was the one time in my life where I really questioned if I was going to make it out of the house alive. Because you...
She's going to have you killed by 14 missionary kids.
No. There was like, I shit you not, 30 to 50 people in here. And when you walked in, I don't know what they were doing, but it was a lineup on both sides of full-on missionary boys in all their stuff, like, and so you had to walk through like a hallway.
We knight you, sir, pizza boy.
Right, you're walking through this hallway of missionaries.
You're gonna do a ritual. You're the sacrificial goat.
That's, dude, so what it felt like. I'm walking through there going, dude, what did I do to get smited like this? Like, this is... Like, I was just waiting for a chant of, one of us, one of us. You know, just fucking...
They start speaking in tongues.
Oh,
and
yeah.
shit.
And I mean... and I hated doing it, too, because the tip was never that great anyway. Although I will give her credit, at least with... You got a tip out of them. Like, you know, normally it was probably like 10% or something like that, which... Yeah, on like a $150 order or something like that. It was still like a $10, $15 tip. I can't say it was bad because really there's not a big difference between taking 10 pizzas and taking 2 pizzas.
Right.
Besides the dollar amount. And sometimes there's stuff. I figured it was worth every last penny of it because I had to walk through the hallway of missionaries. Because like, I was like...
You're like Scooby-Doo. What are you doing, Scooby? I'm a record rice.
Yeah, no shit.
You're a what? I'm a record rice. That's you don't want to be a record rice, Scooby. Well, I'm a record rice.
Yeah. No, 100%. It's just one of those where it's like, oh, fuck. So, yeah, those were kind of a trip. And, yeah, to a degree there, it's a little more embellished after the fact. But, yeah, it was that moment going in there just being like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, seriously? What did I do to piss off somebody?
No, they were worshiping you as you went by. That's what it was.
The most uncomfortable.
He played like the Halo music and shit.
Yeah.
As you walk through the door.
And I've gotten myself into some fairly uncomfortable moments in my life, but that ranks. Like, that was just, fuck, man. I feel lucky I went home today. It just was.
See, we always got tips. I worked at the golf course. It was actually my first job, right?
Yeah.
And I was a bag boy, and so like, you'd have to go and read the board and who had tee times and shit, right? So you'd have to have, and we had the bag storage because it was a big fancy country club, and so you had bag storage and everything, and basically our like working station was this little table that had pencils and cards and tees and shit sitting on it, and so you would get tipped for getting the bag onto the cart and all of that stuff. Well.
And those guys like to show it off, too.
Oh, my God. I cannot tell you how many times I had a guy try to tip me in a 6-pack. Or, one of the guys, horrible golfer, only golfed 9 holes a day. Because on hole, 6, he was so blitzed out of his mind that he couldn't continue to swing the fucking club. And then he would come in, he'd tip us $100 fucking bill, he'd climb in his fucking Bentley, and he'd damn near fucking wreck the thing leaving the parking lot. And it's like, oh my God. And, and then you have the older guys who, golf is that's a big tipping deal. I mean,
it's a status thing too, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're showing off for each other.
Oh, I have my membership, and we're going to go to the 19th hole. Or the 19th green, and we're going to fucking tip the bartender $100, and we're going to tip the bag boys $100 a piece, and like this whole showboating deal, right? I love the fuck out of it.
Yeah, but that's like golfer mentality, too, because we used to, we would go to this bar, well, there was a salesman, a car salesman, but he golfed really thinking. He was the dude that would come through and always pick up the tab for everybody and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Without it, it was like the show of, and I just think that's something in that mentality is they want to show it off because nobody would ask him shit. He was the guy that would walk up to the bar and be like, hey, I'll take care of those tabs or whatever. Right. And as he was walking out, and he'd be like, hey, dude, see you at work, right? Yeah. Or whatever. And he'd be like, yeah, have a good one. Then you're like, okay, I need to cash out. And she's like, nah, he paid. And you're like, oh, fuck. Okay.
Yeah. See, but like for us, like me and my group of friends, we kind of all fight over the bill in the weird way that it's not like, oh yeah, there's the ticket, and you stretch and shit, and then somebody else picks it up and you're like, oh, thank God. Yeah. It's more like it hits the table, and if you don't already have a card in that motherfucker, you're losing.
Yeah, it's a it's
and for us, it's like it's more of a like, haha, got ya, you know, because all of us, we've all blue collar boys and shit. We've all earned our way. Like that's our we've all kind of done that. So when you pay for each other, it's like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't work off handouts, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
They do that shit to me all the time because I'm normally the drunkest, and they're like, "Hey, pay for Brock's drinks," and somebody's like, "Well, okay. I mean, I plan on doing it anyways, but why?" And they're like, "Well, because he gets the most offended."
Yeah, do it just to piss him off.
Yeah, fire him up. Let's see how good this night can get. You know.
And I get it. I'm really no different. Most of the time, if I go out, which isn't a lot, and partially because it's not
fucking expensive anymore.
Well, it's expensive, and same thing. If I sit down with a group of people, and pending where I guess I fit in the hierarchy of whatever that social situation is, I don't have a problem with, no, I got it. You know?
No, I know. You've done this to me. I know.
But
fucker,
that's part of, you know, it's not all the time, but the difference with me is if I get it later, it'd be like, all right, well, okay. You know,
yeah, I know. It doesn't bug you half as much as it bugs me, because you're like, oh, I got it, and I'm like, you son of a bitch. And then the next time I'm like, no, I already handled it, and you're like, okay, cool. You motherfucker. It doesn't piss me off. It's like, fuck. I'm the one who gets pissed off both sides of the story on that one. I'm like, you dirty bastard.
But that's just a little, that's who I am, though. I'm game either way, because, again, it goes back to what I've said before, expectations. Like, I don't expect anybody to pay for me, and if I pay for somebody else, it has nothing to do, like, I don't expect it reimbursed. Now, if you want to go out of your way and you want to pay, okay, I'll let you pay. If at any point you ever try to hold that shit against me, no. Be like, look, motherfucker, you throw your card out and say you're paying. That's on you.
Yeah.
Because I don't care if it's how do you want to split it? How do you want to do this? You know, I can have the conversation. It's not a negotiation to me. Right? You know, it's like, no, this is fun. I got it. Or like, no, it's cool. I got it. You know. Will I later, if you get it, will I want to...
I think that's kind of where you can land with the respect to your friends. Like, you kind of learn who your friends are a little bit. I mean, obviously, if you have somebody you know is struggling, you're not going to expect them to pay for shit.
No.
And that's it. It is what it is. You're not... Like, I know I have a certain friend that I don't expect him to pay for a fucking thing. But he's a great dude, and he works his ass off. He just pays a lot of money in bills and things, and I don't ever expect him to pick my bill up. I don't ever expect him to pick up any, you know. It's like, just let me handle it. Let's go. Come on. Shut up. Get in the truck. You know, like I don't ever expect him to pay it back. He has, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? No. Yeah. I've got way less shit on my plate than you do. Don't do this again.
Yeah, it's
you know.
Well, and that's how I grew up, though. My parents, we didn't have a bunch of money, but my parents are no different. They'll, you know, if they take you somewhere and they're like, I think all parents are kind of like that, though. Yeah, but my dad's always been like that with other people. My mom, too. Just like...
I think it's a raised type of thing. You don't just pick it up on your own.
No,
like, that's something that you're kind of, I guess, taught as a child. Like
you learn it from seeing them and stuff like that. It's the same way if you're invited out and you know that you're not paying, right? If it's like, hey, everybody come out to the restaurant, like I'm the guy that I then start, if I know I'm not paying or chipping in, if I know this is, I'm finding like the cheap thing on the menu. I'm not the one, I can't stand the people who are like, they know they're not paying. They're like, yeah, I want the steak and lobster.
I want a steak and a lobster and crab legs and 3 beers.
And I'm like, I'll take the mac and cheese off the kids menu. You know, it's like...
Exactly.
Especially after
kids eat free, right? Yeah, okay, well, this child wants a T-bone steak and a Bud Light, and I'll do the kids mac and cheese with a apple juice.
Yeah. No shit, right? It's
We're gonna have to cart her. No, you're not. Just give her the beer.
Yeah, that's just how it works. Not everybody's like that. What's always blown me away from the service industry too, though, is there's the flip side. There's the people like me, which I tell you is more the norm, who have done it, that they respect it. Yeah. So when they're out, they tip good. They, you pick the shit up on the table. Like, you feel like you almost have to go back to work, right? And that's why I say everybody should have to do one of those jobs. You learn in those jobs to hustle and work hard. And for the most part, those people, they don't bitch about the money. They show up, they work hard in that, so they're better long term in other places. Like, when I see you've done that successfully for a while on a resume or an application, it's like, shit, man, they can hustle, right?
Yeah.
They're team people too. Like, restaurant, it's a team. It's so much more family-like. When you work in service industry, you become kind of a family. Like, everybody kind of gravitates. So you take offense to it. But the ones that blow me away are the service industry motherfuckers that don't tip. And they won't. They're like, no, it's their fucking job. They'll be that guy. And it's like, dude, you would berate somebody for not tipping. They're normally the loudest, pissiest when they go.
They're always the one that are going to call you Karen when you don't tip because they fucked up and you found spit in your burger and everything else. Yeah, and you're like, fuck you.
They're the shitty ones, and then they do the exact same thing when they go out somewhere. And it's like, why are you doing what you hate? You're literally doing to this person what you hate having done to you, and you have no problem doing it. They're like, what do you mean? Are you fucking oblivious?
What do you mean?
Yeah. I can't stand that. So, yeah, there are times that we've done no, we can't afford to go out to eat, because not just that the bills, but it's like, well, yeah, but if we go, it's going to be this much, and then we got a tip, and it's like, fuck, no, it's out of the budget.
Oh, yeah.
But that factors in. It's not,
what's made tipping even harder now? Like the fucking delivery apps.
Oh.
Like the DoorDash and the Uber Eats and all that stuff, right? Like, those guys get paid to do that job. That's why they're doing it.
Well, like, right. They get a percentage that delivery fee.
Yeah, so why? Why should I? No, you are paying these people enough money that they're continuously doing it. Like, it's a designated deal. Like, nobody's being like, oh, you're just not going to go to work today? Because they're just like, no, I'm not. I make $60 yesterday. I'll make $100 tomorrow. Like, I'm not fucking going to work today.
No, but you live literally, when you get in those jobs, it turns into day-to-day living. I mean, for me, it was my $6 an hour paid maybe my rent at that time, but everything else, what I was eating tomorrow, depending on what I made in tips tonight, And that was as a driver, so you were at least getting a solid, maybe minimum wage. But when you're talking like actual waitresses and waiters and stuff like that, in a lot of those jobs, especially, depending where you are, it's like $3 an hour at that time. You had to report part of your tips because that was the expectation. And that's where it goes back into that fight of, you own the business.
Yeah.
Why I am paying you to have employees not off of goods of service.
Why should my $20 fucking pizza and delivery cost me $28?
Right.
No, I agree.
And that's where it comes into. But
I also agree that if you're doing that job and you are not trying hard enough to get the fuck out of it, shut up. Quit bitching. Keep delivering pizzas, motherfucker.
And hence why I don't do that job. But as a 18-year-old job, like 18 to 21,
gotta find something, right?
Oh, it's fucking fun. Especially if you're doing those jobs work really great with school. Like, if you're going to college or doing some sort of schooling, those jobs you can make. If you do them right, you can get the hours you need and still be able to make the money you need to be able to survive and get yourself through school.
Right. Those jobs are basically there for those people. Like, that's
the market that falls into it, and it works out. It's just the dude who's now 50 that's still doing that job. You're like,
The guy who's been a pizza delivery guy for fucking 3 years, you're like, okay, man, I mean, do I need to, like, help you get out of this? But, like, do I need to offer you a job? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, we had we had 2 or 3 guys, though, that same thing. It was their second job. It was just some extra cash. They work a couple days a week. And I totally get it for that. Because again, like when I did the Chinese delivery, I had a full-time job. They were just down the street. So I it was one of those things where it was like, me and the wife were like, well, yeah, we don't have anything else going on. I'll go do this 4 or 5 days a week and we'll stash that money and that can be, hey, let's go take a trip.
Yeah.
You know, I get all
or making sure that Christmas isn't fucking hosed.
Right.
That's a huge one, man. And I'll tell you what, after becoming a dad, you know, one of the funnest things for me is watching that child just super overexcited about stuff. Like, that to me is a huge deal. So that's why, you know, like, I did the scouting out repossessions, you know. So it's like, yeah, I had my daily job where I'd fucking replace sprinkler heads all day. And then I got home, went to sleep, woke up. All night long, I was looking for motherfuckers who didn't want to pay their bills. I was looking for their shit.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, you find that, like, second job. I mean, and anybody can tell me, oh, well, my job is so great that I don't have to do that, blah, blah, blah. Kiss my ass. Because any point in time in your life and you go, nah, an extra couple bucks wouldn't do anything for me. Shut up.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a long time or quite the job for the extra couple bucks to not matter.
Yeah.
That's just reality. Yeah. But one thing I'll say about service industry job, the other reason I think they're great to do, especially when you're talking between those teenage, you know, I'd say 16 to say 24, whatever. Dude, you meet the most interesting fucking people.
Yeah.
You really do. That is an industry that breeds just interesting people. Like, those jobs, like, right now, if I won the lottery, I'd probably go do jobs like that part-time, just solely for entertainment value. No. They are entertaining as shit. Which I can take you into, like, I had one time, one of the weird ones I had, occasionally you'll get stuck at a house. Like, I got stuck at a house one time. What sucked was somebody took the delivery and it was out of our area. They didn't tell them, nope, sorry, you're not in our area. They took it. So not only was I I had to go out of our area, so farther than I normally would have to go. But because it was out of our area, it went as a solo delivery. So I didn't have any other houses on the way to make it up. I get there and they're like, oh shit, man, he had to run somewhere. Can you hang for a minute? So I wind up hanging out at this fucking stoner's house. And they were total stoners. And it was like, are you fucking kidding me? And so they're sitting there. They don't know where the dude's at. And you sit there for a while. And then obviously, like, I'm just hanging out. And I'm like, fuck, man. At some point, I'm about ready to bounce on this. And then they're like, you could tell they got tired of waiting for the dude. They wanted to get high. So they finally were like, we're going to get stoned. And basically, then they're like, you want some? You know, it's like, and I'm like, fuck. It's like, no, it'd so wind up getting me fired. You know, I would be the one that'd come back and get me fired. So I sit there, those guys smoke out, and I'm like, finally the dude fucking shows up. And yeah, I think I waited like 20 minutes for this dude to show up. And I think I got a shit tip, like $2-3. Which, if I had just gone there, dropped the pizza and left, whatever, it would have been normal. It was like, are you fucking kidding me? I sat around here waiting for your ass to go buy more weed or whatever, and you give me a shitty tip? It's like, man, fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably the most disturbing one I had, I wouldn't say it was that disturbing, because one thing you find, one of the kind of interesting things about driving is then you figure out what neighborhoods are what. You really do learn where in all of these areas you've got the good neighborhoods,
right,
and you've got the bad neighborhoods, right? And then so you've got the ones that you see in any address in that neighborhood, and you're like, oh fuck, man, I'm gonna go there.
I'm gonna get jumped for pizza.
Oh, like it was that would, when I was talking about the delivery board and stuff, that's where you would jockey, right? If you were smart and could play it, it'd be like, so people like to get the big runs, but there were times I'd look and I'd be like, fuck, if I take this run and I'm quick enough, it's a single run, but I shoot over there and back, that dude has to go to the fucking shitty neighborhood. Even though he's going to get 2 or 3 on that run, he's got the shitty neighborhood.
Yeah.
I'm hauling ass, so I can because I can beat the other guys back and grab this run that has 3 that goes out here. I mean, that was the game.
Yeah.
Like, so almost delivering pizzas for me was like a strategy game. It was like, oh, if I do this, that's where the competitive came out. It wasn't like, I'm just cruising in my car. It was like, oh, this is fun. Like, this is a competition. I'm in. That was part of where I liked it. But some days you would, if you drove during the day, you were the only driver. And that's when you can get, that seemed to be when you could get fucked up deliveries. Or else you'd get like 4 deliveries and they'd be on every corner of the area map. And you're the only driver.
Right.
And you're like, oh, fuck, how do I map this one out to like hit everybody in reasonable time to where they order? I mean, those get fucked up. And then you get, so I had one, I went and these kids answered the door. I mean, these are like maybe 14-year-old kids, 13, 14-year-old kids.
Right.
And they're like, oh, hold on, my mom left us money for pizza somewhere. I gotta go find it, right? And it's like, oh, fuck.
It's magneted to the fucking fridge or some shit.
No, Mom hadn't left money. These kids were in the wear down game of, could they get me to give up the pizza for free? They ordered it, for delivery, everything. It was, we can convince the delivery driver to...
Oh, yeah.
So they stalled, they did this, they did that, they talked to you, and I'm just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And it's like, okay, guys, cash or I'm out, right? This little fucker sends his girlfriend out. And this is how I know she was only 14 or something. She comes out and she's like, I could sex you for it. And I'm like,
I could sex you.
I was in my head, I was like, I didn't say it out loud. I was just like, no. But in my head is like, little girl, you have never been laid in your life.
Yeah, you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
And I don't know of any teenager of a sexual nature that's using the line, I could sex you for it. Like, that is like the
that's
most
some sheltered shit.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
you have no idea what you're potentially getting yourself into. And not only that, though, really have a little respect. You're allowing your little 14-year-old boyfriend to try to pimp you out for a fucking pepperoni pizza? I mean, come on.
What's the Parmesan cheese and red peppers gonna cost? I mean, fuck.
Right. I was just like, you got it. I mean, they were just like, finally it was down to, they were just like, come on, man, can we have the pizza? And I was like, fuck no.
I'm not getting... If you guys are going to pay the fucking bill, I'm not on the hook for it. Fuck
no,
you.
I want money, and I ain't going... Yeah, you realize, if I come back without the pizza, I'm paying for the fucking bill, right? I can't... Even though I could have totally gave it to him and got away with it. But...
Right.
I was just like... No, your negotiation game was just no good. Like,
you negotiate like shit.
But everybody at the shop will thank you because we're going to go back and eat the pizza because you didn't pay. We're scrapping it, and so we'll all eat the pizza and charge it off to food waste. I mean, fuck you, you know? Yeah, no, I learned a lot of things. We ate probably our worth pretty easily in food, too, that... No,
people didn't pay for.
Oh fuck no! And that's every restaurant you ever go to. You're so much.
Well, that's the thing that like kind of throws me off too. Is everybody's like, "This is the price. This is what you're paying." Blah blah blah. And you're like, "Okay, no big deal, right?" But then you see those guys who are like, "I'm not paying this fucking bill." Blah blah blah. And it's like, dude, you ate the food first off,
yeah,
and now you're just being a jackass. Like what? shut up and pay your fucking debts. Like, quit being a little bitch and pay your fucking debts and get the fuck out. I mean,
they have a menu with a price tag on it. It's not like you walked in and they said, "What do you want to eat?" and you said, "I want all of this stuff," and they brought it to you, and you didn't negotiate price, and now you're having buyer's remorse of, "Fuck, I probably should have asked how much this was all going to cost."
Right.
You looked at the menu and you said, "Oh yeah, steak and lobster, $59.99. I'm in."
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna bitch at you and tell you all that stuff is shitty, and that, oh yeah, there was a hair in there too, but I gobbled all that shit up. But,
yeah, I ate the whole entire fucking thing, but it wasn't worth $10. Yeah, fuck right off.
I did have a Chinese. There was a dead fly in one of our dishes.
Oh god.
Right, and I'm telling this lady, I'm like, and she's like, "Oh, I'll take it away and like get you new sauce." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, man, we're leaving." And I was like, "No, that's disgusting. We're out. We're not eating." And she was just like, I know there was a language barrier, but it was like she just couldn't understand why. And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm leaving and I'm not paying." Right? And we hadn't really eaten. It was like, no, there's
right, but that's like a health concern.
Right, there's dead bugs in our food. We're leaving, but. No, she was just like, "No, I'll take it away. No big deal."
Yeah, no, they're all like that.
I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah, fuck that.
So, you get some wild shit out there. But yeah, I had fun ones. I mean, it's probably something I would absolutely go do again, just totally for the stories. It would be more fun, like, because the area we were in, I imagine you deliver down around the college area. Oh, shit, the stuff you probably see here. And so that kind of factors in, too. I was out more, it's not out of town now, but more kind of outskirts areas. So it was much more residential, family, kids, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Same thing. But then there were neighborhoods in there, like and not to knock these people, but you knew when the food stamps hit, or you knew when payday was, right?
Yeah.
You'd go to that house and you knew that was like...
Well, I feel like pizza's that way anyways. I mean, we get paid and I'm like, yeah, I guess we could do pizza. Just because it's so fucking expensive now, it's just like, fuck. But on payday, you're like, oh, whatever.
But it's not expensive. Like back then, it wasn't expensive when you were talking feeding, say, 4 kids and 2 adults, and I mean, you'd go to that door with all them and you'd have like a large pizza and breadsticks. It's not like they were really chowing down, but to feed all of you on a $15.99 coupon, that's fucking hell of a deal.
Yeah.
So I get it, but you'd walk up to that house and normally, like, a lot of guys would get pissed off, oh, I'm not going to get a tip. And those ones didn't bother me as much because at the same time I was like, part of me was like, why the fuck are you even buying pizza? Like, I get everybody needs a night out, and this is the best version you're gonna get, but you probably could use it. Dude, I was in a neighborhood once, and I had a guy looking for crack money that, wanted to pop the dent out in my car right then and there for cash. You're like, nah, man, I'm good. Like, I'm just trying to deliver this pizza here. Shit like that. Again, and my stories are pretty benign. There's people who have just some wild fucking stories. But then I had stories from some of the other guys. There was one guy I worked with who because one of the areas we go up, you go up this big hill where if you sat in there right, you could kind of see over the city and you'd hit right. And this dude, if there was like a cool sunset or something and he was delivering up there, he'd pull off, smoke a joint, watch the sunset, and then come back an hour later. And you were like... Dude, what the fuck? It's just something like that. I mean, and then you get a lot of scuzzballs. I worked with a dude that ended up managing another store, and he ended up getting fired because he was sleeping with, like, the high school chicks that worked there.
Oh.
And you're like, oh my god, yeah, I think he got hit with, like, statutory rape. And it was like, dude, seriously?
What the fuck were you thinking?
Was all that worth it? But no, there's the other part of service industries though. People who are in it long enough, man, talk about it's probably as bad as like the gym crowd and fucking each other. Like,
oh yeah,
I mean it's. Yeah, they all have the longer you stay in the services industry, those histories reveal themselves. It's not so bad pizza world wise, but server world, oh yeah, that's quite
I could see that
drama filled revolving door. This one's fucking this one, and the manager, and God knows who else,
right?
But, some of the shit that you put up with from customers, too, at the same time as waiters and waitresses, and how at times it's meat market-y, where the customers treat you that way, too. And, I mean, I luckily never got treated that way, but I've been around plenty who...
We don't show enough cleavage. That's your problem.
I mean, I could push them together. I don't have the right bra
You didn't walk up, all right, what would you like? And then drop your pecker on the fucking table.
Right. You're like... I heard if you showed off a bit, you got a better tip.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, I think we've probably kicked this horse pretty decent.
Yeah. Not dead yet, but we could kill it. But probably better off to call it a night and let everybody move on to greener pastures. So... thank you again for listening to another episode of Dose of Dysfunction. To use the generic, smash that like button. Give us some love. If you can give us a rating, tune back in for other episodes. Hit us at Dose Dysfunction or Dose of Dysfunction community on Facebook. Ask us questions. There's ways to send emails, ask questions. Anyway, whatever podcast platform you're listening to it on, if there's a way to get in touch with us and you have questions, you want to hear us talk about something, you want
to tell us that one of us is a fucking asshole,
it may get you.
That's my favorite one. I'm waiting for that day.
I don't know if I'm waiting for the asshole one.
Yeah, I don't know. I am. I want to see just how bad it could get, but
I will push it to this level if possible. So, I mean, and if we offended you, let us know. We'll try to do it even more. So it's all good. So, anyway, thank you all again for listening, and good night.